Hello and welcome to Uncensored Conservatism. This is episode number 352. So, um, this is a new series here on Uncensored Conservatism. It may be a weekly thing at the rate I'm finding these stories. So let's start on the dark continent of Africa in the Congo, where the Allied Democratic Force, an Islamist group tied to ISIS, attacked a funeral and managed to kill at least 60 people. The bereaved were cut up with machetes, according to eyewitness reports. The next night, they killed another 18 villagers in a second attack. In Niger, insurgents believed it. You've got to be careful with the name of that country. One more G in there, and you can get in trouble. In Niger, insurgents believed to be allied with Al-Qaeda and ISIS killed at least 22 people attending a baptism. The attack happened on the border with Mali and Burkina Faso. Leaders of those three countries previously expelled American personnel from their countries in their battle with Islamic insurgents. Fulani insurgents in Nigeria recently attacked a largely Christian village in that country, killing 7 people. Officials are now reporting that 5 of the dead were children, with the youngest being only 1 year old. Another 8 victims sustained gunshot and machete wounds in the attack. Fulani insurgents are associated with ISIS in Africa. Also in Nigeria, an Islamic cleric was arrested in a stop-and-search traffic effort, whereupon they found what they believe to be human flesh. The item is being analyzed by forensic experts. The cleric said he purchased the item in Nigeria's capital of Lagos because apparently they sell human flesh in markets there. Sudan is involved in a bloody civil war and is also a country of over 2 million Christians. At least 150,000 Christians have been killed in the battles and up to another 15 million dislocated since the start of that war. Now word comes that humanitarian aid is not being delivered to Christians unless they renounce their faith and belief in Jesus Christ. As a result, many have taken to eating animal feed and grass. Back here in the United States, Texas Governor Greg Abbott has instituted a ban on Sharia law after reports surfaced that Muslims were pressuring fellow Muslim store owners to stop selling pork, alcohol, and lottery tickets. Imam Khan of Houston was filmed pressuring shop owners and has threatened boycotts and mass protests if his demands are not met. Another imam in Norfolk, Virginia, Ismail Salim, took to the pulpit, or whatever they have in mosques, to note that the world is a better place without Charlie Kirk. He further stated that Kirk got what he deserved, and it made the good imam smile before pivoting to the plight of dead terrorists in Gaza. This is the religion of peace. Where am I? Yeah. Oops. Not that Muslims hate Jews or anything, but Imam Abdel Monim Dobal recently took to the pulpit at his mosque in Dublin, Ohio, to call for the extermination of all Jews. Not only that, he prayed for the annihilation of anyone who supports a Jew. Again, nice guy. What a religion of peace. Okay, yeah, here we go. Sorry about that. Dearborn, Michigan residents have a new street named after Osama Siblani. Siblani is the founder of the Arab news outlet and is of Lebanese descent. Okay, so far so good. Not so good is the fact that Siblani is a terrorist sympathizer who has suggested that all Jews should be returned to Poland, one assumes, for their extermination. Incidentally, Siblani also accompanied Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer on a trip to the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain. Hibatullah Akhundzada, a Taliban leader in a northern province of Afghanistan, has banned the use of fiber optic internet service there. Although there is no Wi-Fi, cell service is still available, said the leader. The purpose of the ban is to stamp down on immorality. Okay, so Bangladesh is a Muslim country, and several Islamic groups are calling on massive protests in November in that country's capital to force the government to declare the Ahmadiyya minority sect non-Muslims. The Ahmadiyyan are a Messianic end times Muslim sect. Authorities in India have broken up a Muslim terrorist cell close to ISIS in that country, according to reports. One suspect confessed they were targeting a high-profile politician in Mumbai, as well as Hindus who had married Muslim girls. Many Muslims in India are pushing the belief that Hindu males are preying on young Muslim females. Ain't that a twist on Rotherham? Elsewhere in India, in some area I can't pronounce, a controversial social media posting mentioning the Quran and Muhammad led Islamists to surround local police stations, shouting Allah Akbar. They also hurled insults at Hindu gods and deities. Police managed to put down the violence, and several arrests were made. Jihad Mortazavi, an Iranian cleric, was executed for murder in Iran recently. He had temporarily married his secretary for 4 years, after which she wed another man in a ceremony he officiated. He then invited the new husband to his office and killed him. Now, temporary marriages are legal under Iranian law and only last for a predetermined period. I guess he still had the hots for this chick. A Palestinian working at a hotel outside Jerusalem in Israel recently went on a rampage in the hotel's restaurant and managed to stab several diners. 2 were hospitalized, with 1 in critical condition. He shouted the infamous Allah Akbar as he lashed out at unsuspecting guests. The perp was an outside contractor hired to wash dishes. Also, 6 people were killed in Jerusalem and at least 22 injured, when mostly peaceful Muslims opened fire on the streets at a busy traffic junction. 3 of the dead were rabbis. Unsurprisingly, Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad, 2 terrorist groups, praised the attack. Austrian police are complaining about a Syrian youth gang rampaging through cities in that country known as 505. The gang has claimed at least 30 victims with their violence. They range in age from 17 to 20. Multiple stabbings, robberies, and drug trade are listed among their offenses. Now, this is what happens when you invite this scum into your country. 2 illegal migrants in France, one from Algeria and the other from Tunisia, were sentenced to lengthy prison sentences in France for the brutal gang rape of a young French girl. The victim, a sociology student, has since dropped out of school. One of the attackers was 17 at the time of the incident. An 18-year-old teen from Turkey is accused of stabbing a teacher and a student at a school in southern France. The teen, a former student at the school, had recently been released from a psychiatric clinic and was placed on the French watch list as a potential national security risk. He was in the clinic for admitting he was preoccupied with a mass killing at a school. France reports that in 2025, there has been an 86% increase in sexual assaults on French public transport so far this year. Data shows that 64% of the assailants are foreigners, with 43% being from Muslim North African countries. In France, North African Muslims make up only 3.4% of their total population. Of the sexual assault victims, the majority are under the age of 30. Okay, so this is Asher Sarnaya, a Christian who fled Iraq to avoid persecution at the hands of ISIS and ended up in France. He's a vocal critic of Islam on TikTok and is also wheelchair-bound. He was recently attacked with a machete outside his home in Lyon. He died as a result. More sickening is that the killers live-streamed the attack on social media. Police are investigating whether any Muslims perpetrated the attack. So I'm going to go on a limb here and say, yeah. Yamin H., a Muslim French citizen, is on trial in France for at least 10 brutal, violent home invasions in that country. In one incident, a 90-year-old woman was locked in a closet. The elderly are often the targets of these pieces of shit, and Yamin is believed to be a serial robber and burglar. A Muslim from Senegal in France and his wife were on trial for the murder of his first wife, shown here. The husband practices a strict code of Islam related to gender roles. However, the man had a second wife who he passed off as an au pair for their child. So now we have extreme Islam and polygamy in the mix. Added to the mix is the fact that the victim was pregnant at the time and the unborn baby could not be saved. Now wife number 2 and the husband are on trial. A man from Afghanistan residing in France got naked and exposed his penis to 3 female French police officers in an attempt to get arrested so that he could be sent back to Afghanistan, which the French said they cannot do. Already under supervision for sexually assaulting a nurse, he told the court he would continue to get naked until he was sent home. 3 teenagers in France are on trial over their plan to detonate a truck outside the Israeli embassy in Brussels and then storm the building with guns and kill them some Jews. One is a French citizen of Algerian descent and the other 2 hail from Chechnya. Police were alerted when one of them began singing religious songs in class supportive of terrorism. The investigation revealed they frequented Gore websites and were most likely radicalized by ISIS members in Dagestan and Russia. A Muslim husband and wife in Berlin are on trial for attacking a ticket taker on a public transport bus there. The altercation started when Mohammed did not have a valid ticket and his wife's card would not read. An argument broke out, and that is when the victim, an immigrant from Nigeria, was pushed to the ground and punched and kicked before his wife used pepper spray directly to his eyes. As a result, the victim is now permanently blind in his right eye. Incidentally, Mohammed's wife referred to the victim as a quote-unquote dirty nigger. Proving that horny pervert Muslims start early, and 15-year-old Syrian in Germany stands accused of raping a 12-year-old German girl at a public swimming pool. The assault started in the pool and was culminated with the actual rape in a changing room. Because the victim and assailant are minors, police did not make it public for 3 weeks, and only after a newspaper started to question them about it. A 50-year-old woman in the German town of Magdeburg was stabbed to death in broad daylight by a Syrian migrant. The victim is also believed to be Syrian. Police are looking for a motive as the investigation continues. Maybe she didn't correctly wear a face covering or something, I don't know. A migrant from Morocco is accused of assaulting an elderly woman outside the Dortmund Zoo in Germany. The assailant came up from behind and started to viciously beat on her for no apparent reason. The woman was rushed to the hospital suffering from a traumatic brain injury. Police believe the man may be responsible for another attack on a person nearby earlier in the day. Elsewhere in Germany, the son of a Syrian immigrant was ordered by his father to kill his sister and make it look like an accident because she had disgraced the family honor. The transgression was saving a boy's phone number on her cell phone. Thankfully, the son went to the police and the father was arrested. The daughter, who was to be killed, later told police that she and her sisters were subjected to beatings, once for having her hand in a picture she had taken of an ice cream cone. Mohammed K., a Syrian national living in Germany, was given an award by the government in Saxony for successful integration into German society. I mean, this guy was the epitome of the wholesome Muslim migrant to Germany, until he was arrested for spray painting Free Gaza on posts at the Lower Saxony Parliament building. Now it has come to light that this epitome of diversity is quite vocal at protests to the point he often threatens those who don't toe the Palestinian cause line. Some officials in Great Britain are concerned about the rise of Sharia courts in that country that usually portray themselves as Islamic councils. Last year, there were 2,755 honor-based offenses recorded, with 111 cases of female genital mutilation and over 200 arranged marriages. And an app used by Muslims that allow you to create your own Muslim will has a drop-down box that allows you to have up to 4 wives. Artie Hussein Rahim is an Iraqi migrant who now lives in England and has since 2019. After going to a detention center, he was housed in hotels by the government and finally made his way to Manchester. His asylum claim was initially rejected, but he was allowed to stay on appeal. However, Mr. Rahim may now find himself extradited to Germany, not deported to Iraq, because in Germany, he's wanted on 5 warrants dealing with narcotics trafficking. And he's just let in not only the best, just the best and brightest. A man from Afghanistan who fled France to England after being convicted of raping a 14-year-old girl is fighting extradition back to France. He argues that French prison cells are too small and that is a violation of the European Convention on Human Rights. He currently remains in a British prison, and there's no word on the size of a British jail cell. All right, this fine gentleman is an illegal immigrant from Egypt who arrived in Great Britain and was put up at a Hilton hotel in London for 17 months while his asylum claim was considered. He had escaped from Egypt after receiving a 7-year sentence there for being part of a bomb-making terrorist cell related to the Muslim Brotherhood. Last November, he was sentenced to a British prison for raping a woman in Hyde Park. Now word comes that the government was fully aware of his conviction in Egypt while that asylum claim was pending. A 21-year-old Arab living in Amsterdam faces jail time after being convicted of 9 sexual assaults, including rape. 2 victims were minors at the time, and most victims were Muslim. To keep them quiet, he would text message them with things like, "You're not a virgin anymore," and "I'm going out to fuck another headscarf." The victims felt blackmailed given how highly Muslim women are thought of in Muslim culture. A group of men from North Africa attacked a handicapped bystander at a bus stop in Italy and brutally attacked and beat the victim to a pulp. Yelling, "Okay, he's dead," they had the temerity to take a photo of the victim motionless on the street as a trophy. A Jewish couple in Venice, Italy were surrounded by several North African men and attacked as they yelled, "Free Palestine." One attacker had a Rottweiler who he unleashed and had the dog attack the couple who were wearing Orthodox clothing. One perpetrator from Tunisia was apprehended at the scene while 2 others from North Africa were later caught and now face swift deportation. In Switzerland, a migrant from Eritrea managed to commit 46 crimes in 13 months throughout the country. He was recently convicted of rape and sexual assault and received a 3-year sentence, after which he will be deported. He also had the strange habit of exposing his penis on trains and once in a flower shop. He likewise committed several robberies and break-ins. I mean, what a nice guy. And finally, in Australia, police have arrested Tariq Zahabi, who is believed to be the mastermind behind a string of vandalisms at a Jewish school and arson at a Jewish community center in Australia. There have been over 2,000 anti-Semitic attacks in Australia since Hamas attacked Israel on October 7th, 2023. Zahabi originally hails from that Jew-loving country of Iran. And that's it for today. Have a great day and a more pleasant tomorrow.